Okay, so up to this point, if we go into play mode, we should be able to move left and right, but our camera is not following our player at all. So we installed a package called Cinemachine, which makes it really easy to have a follow camera. So to turn our camera into our Cinemachine camera, we need to right click in our gameplay scene, go down to Cinemachine. This menu should exist if you've already installed the Cinemachine package in the package manager, and then choose 2D camera. If you didn't see that option, make sure you go up to Window and Package Manager and install the Cinemachine from the Unity registry. So now we should see the main camera has a Cinemachine icon on the far right and a new object, Cinemachine Virtual Camera 1. So on this virtual camera, first what I want to do is go down to Add Extensions and then choose Cinemachine Pixel Perfect. Since we're working on a pixel art game, we want to make sure that each pixel renders crisply as we're moving left and right. And then we need a follow target. So we're going to click on this icon over here to select and choose player from the scene. So now if we hit play, we should already have a follow camera where we can follow our player around the screen. And it's looking good. We don't have any choppiness as the camera follows the player. Now you might notice that when I start moving and stop moving, there's a little bit of a delay. That's intentional by default. And if we expand body, we can customize settings like that. So that delay is coming from X damping, Y damping, and Z damping set to 1. If you turn all of these off, set them to 0, then the follow camera is always going to stay right on top of the player. But you can see this doesn't quite look as nice. Sometimes you do want the camera to have a little bit of a lag. So we can return the damping to 1 for all 3 of those. So hitting play again, you can see that while we have body expanded down here, that it will actually show this overlay to show more exactly what's happening. So the crosshairs is where the camera is currently at, and the yellow square is the target, which it's trying to reach to. Another setting we can try playing around with is look ahead time. So now with a look ahead time of 0.5, it's going to move the target to where the player is expected to be in the future. So I think this might be 0.5 seconds. I'm not totally sure on that. But yeah, that's basically the idea. But you can see that when I go from not moving to moving, that this target moves instantly. What we might want to do is set smoothing so that it takes a little bit of a time for the target to actually reach its final point. It might make the animation look a little bit smoother. Exit out of play mode, and then we'll take the look ahead time and set that to 0.5 and set the look ahead smoothing to 6. So we can go ahead and hit play, and we should still have that look ahead time. There are other settings we could play around with, like dead zone width. So if we set this, then while our character's inside of the dead zone, it won't move the camera at all. I don't particularly like this as much, so I'm actually going to leave dead zone off completely so that the camera's always trying to follow the player as the player's moving in one way or another. But you're more than welcome to customize all of the settings here to control how the camera's going to look at your player during the gameplay. So that's basically it for all we need to set up for Cinemachine to have a cool follow camera following our player. This will also work when we have gravity going up and down. So, I mean, we could test that. So I'll turn the gravity back on the player, setting the scale to 1. Then we'll hit play, and you can see the follow camera actually follows our player down. And it still has that look ahead time, so it's looking where the player is going to be rather than where it is currently. So let's turn the gravity scale back to 0, and that'll be it for this part.